I was born smart and I was smarter than all of them. And I understood how to manipulate even the mob guys and the criminals and the cartels.
Hmm.
I was smart. So I did what didn't get me killed and also didn't get me
Hmm.
problems from what I had done.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Today's guest, Michael Swerdloff, was an abusive, real-life mobster. He lived a life of crime. He lied, he cheated, he stole, he conned, he swindled, he did all of those things. He's been shot, he's been stabbed, he's been beaten with a baseball bat, all the things that you would imagine. He even stared down the barrel of a police officer's shotgun. This is a one-time criminal who even preyed on other criminals. Nobody was safe from our guest as he lived his life lying and cheating and stealing. But over time, something was always eating at him. This is not who he wanted to be. He didn't want to be the predator. He wanted to be the kind and loving protector. But how? Because this was how he was raised. He has a misogynistic father. He has a sociopathic brother. This was the only life he knew, but he also knew, and I'm going to read you his quote because I think it's really powerful. He also knew that we do not have to be what they did to us.
Oh, I love that.
So do I. This is a good conversation about redemption, a good conversation about hope. So we're happy to bring it to you. Michael, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing this with us.
Oh, thanks for the invitation. I'm so glad to be here. And that was a spectacular introduction.
No, thank you.
You did it again, Mark. You did it again.
Thank you. Well, look, you're a spectacular guest with
Yes.
a great story. We can't wait to talk about it.
So your book is titled Raised by Wolves, Possibly Monsters. And the title's quite striking, I think. Can you share kind of what the wolves and monsters were when you were growing up?
Both my dad, my father, and my uncle, I perceive them as wolves, and not the kind of wolves that protect, the other kind of wolves. And what I think about is anytime there was an opportunity to exploit something, they did it. And for all three of them, it was girls and women. That was the thing that was consistent. There was other things and other situations of crime and violence and hate and all the things, but women and their bodies were their primary thing that, if you will, we use the wolf model here, that they thirsted after. My brother was violent always, like always. Like I'm thinking of times of, gosh, I'm going to say I was 7 or 8, and he got angry with me because I had beaten him in chess. I think it was chess or checkers, and he literally stuffed me out the second floor window of my bedroom, and I'm hanging on the awning there. Do you know what I mean? And that's what life with David was like. When he got older, he got really violent. We had a Jack in the Box a few blocks away from our home. There started being a lot of fights there on weekend nights when my brother was in high school. So they hired, one of those rent-a-cop security guards. And that guy told my brother to shut up. And my brother threw him through the Jack in the Box like glass window. He literally, like that 30 by 30 window that's this thick, he threw the guy through the window. Following year, him and his friends had a rival town. They played football. They had set up this big brawl that was going to happen. My brother and his 2 best friends and these other guys in another town. And my brother was going out to dinner with his girlfriend. He had a car, and he was going to meet the 2 of them at the brawl. Well, the 2 of them got a flat tire, and this being the 70s, it's not like there was any way to get in touch with people. So my brother shows up with these 6 guys on the football team. He beats up and puts all of them in the hospital. He goes to court because they sued him. And this is literally what the judge said. Like, this still scares me to this day, because think of being his little brother. The judge said, "Do you really expect me to believe this guy who's smaller than these 6 guys put all 6 of them in the hospital? No, all of you get out of my courtroom." And I remember sitting in the court and thinking, if he can do that to these 6 guys that are all over 175 pounds, they're all football players, what can he do to me? And then he got worse. he became a strong arm in the mob.
How much older was your brother than you?
He was 4.5 years
Four and a
older.
half years old. And then he became a strong arm in the mob. So that afforded him more things to do, more violent opportunities, right? For sure.
Yeah, and he got paid to do
And
it.
he got
Like it
paid.
wasn't just temper tantrums, you know?
Yeah. How did that rub off on you, though? What did that do to you, your mindset, your psyche, and how you behaved?
I was a kid in the neighborhood that let the little kids play football with us, and basketball and kickball, and made sure the girls who didn't know how to play taught them how to play, and made sure the teams were fair. And I'm getting this set of how to live life from my father and my brother. And then I have who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't match. And I knew something was out of whack. My teens were a lot of shoplifting, selling drugs, and
Got it.
blowing up things. But I wasn't really hurting people yet.
Yeah. Oh, I got it. And so that's clearly your father and your brother's influence, clearly, right?
It was their impact. Yeah.
So you said you were also feeling your mother's influence. Was that pulling you in a different direction, I assume?
It was till they got divorced. My mom got wrecked when she found out that my father was cheating on her their whole marriage. And then she found out that everybody knew,
Huh.
and there was dozens of women.
Wow.
And
Wow.
like any human being being in that position, my mom was pissed.
Of course.
And for the next 5, 7 years, she was a different person. And we weren't very close. Eventually, we became really close. And my mom's also passed a long time ago. But through the bulk of my adulthood, my mom was always my person.
Aw. So
Yeah.
you said you became one of them. What did that entail?
Well, it was a few things. One, I became violent, primarily to girls and women. And I'll share more about that if you're curious, but we can also just leave it there if that's what's best. And that's when I started getting involved with mob people and all that goes along with that. And I became different really quick.
So you knew what you were doing was unethical, for sure. And what you were doing was illegal, for sure. Which one broke you first? Was it I can't look at myself in the mirror, or I don't want to go to jail? Did you serve time?
Just jail, never prison, nothing long term.
Got it.
And I know just jail isn't something that most people say, but
Right.
just jail, a few days here, a week here, 5 days there, all little stuff.
So you weren't necessarily afraid of being incarcerated. You've been there. You had done it here and there.
No, I was afraid of it. I was afraid of it. But I mean, my uncle spent of the 60 something years of his life, he spent at least 30 of them in prisons, 3 years here, 8 years there, 12 years there. My brother spent 3.5 years, then another year and a half. So I was surrounded by people that spent a lot of time. And, in high school, I visited my brother every weekend in prison, and it's not fun being in there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that.
Sure.
It's not fun. Like, one, the things you have to go through to get in the building. And two, everybody in there, he was in maximum security, Rahway State Prison. They made movies about Scared Straight. He was there then when they made the movie, and it's not a fun room to be in.
No.
Right. Was he there for murder? What did he do to get him in maximum?
He was there for 6 counts of armed robbery. Him and this guy, they used to hang out outside jewelry stores after dark and at gunpoint would rob old women.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So Mark said your past involved serious criminal activity, like you were stabbed, attacked, and something happened with a baseball bat, and then there was a gun in your face. Like, which one of those moments do you want to talk about? One of them, or?
I'm going to talk about the 2 gun things.
Okay, let's talk about the 2 gun things.
One of them was my brother.
Oh no.
Yeah, I had done something that. Yeah, this guy. You have no idea.
This guy.
I had done something that the family, not my family, but the family had said that I couldn't do. They said not to do it, but I wanted to do it because Well, because I wanted to do it. And um, David had been given a command of, you need to get your brother straightened out
Mm-hmm.
or else. And he put his 45 to my head.
Oh my gosh.
And he said, you got 6 hours to straighten this out. He said, it's dinner time. You got till midnight. I did what appeared to be straightened out. I'm laughing at saying this because it's weird. I was born smart and I was smarter than all of them. And I understood how to manipulate even the mob guys and the criminals and the cartels.
Hmm.
I was smart. So I did what didn't get me killed and also didn't get me problems from what I had done. And then the other one was I had robbed a friend of mine of what then was probably about $25,000 in cocaine, which would be a few $100,000 today. And I didn't know he had a gun on him, and he came after us, just like in the freaking movies. We're driving down the road, and he's coming after us, shooting us, and we're ducking around traffic and holes in my trunk and windows knocked in, and both gun incidents, nothing really happened except the impact of knowing that somebody tried to kill me and somebody was willing to kill me.
Wow. I'm curious, and this might not be even an easy thing to answer, but when you do these things, like robbing someone's cocaine or, whatever the crime is, what is the motivation? Is it money? Is it acceptance? Is it you have to? Like for someone who's looking at this, who's never done any of these things, to try and be in your shoes because you seem like a totally different person now. What's the motivation?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's an awesome question. Thank you. Um, because in my professional work as a counselor, I've dealt with other men like me. So I'm going to both speak what was true for me, what I perceived about the men around me at the time, and what I know to be true to professionally. I'm going to throw them all into one glop here to the best of my ability. At the root of it all is fear or power, because they're the same thing spelled differently. If my fear is that I'm not powerful enough, my fear is I'm not in control, if my fear is I only made $300,000 this year, but I spent 400,000 on cocaine and I don't know, I'm going to lose my girlfriend. If my fear is my boss is going to come after me, if my fear is somebody's going to humiliate me in public, I have to do something to quell my fear. When people talk about male fragility, most men don't understand because, like, I'm not fragile. Come on, let's fight. That is fragile. Because you could say anything in the world to me, it would never occur to me to hit you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not fragile. My masculinity isn't threatened if you call me stupid or a blank or a blank or a blank. My masculinity is not on, it's not on trial. I know I'm a man. I know who I am. So all of male violence, almost at the core, is fear and needing to feel powerful. It's not really being powerful, it's needing to feel powerful. At the core, what was different for me and all the guys around me at the time, again, my perception was they had moved past feeling shame. They were either hateful, rageful, or numb. I still had shame. And you can't be a mobster and have shame. It just doesn't work. At the core of it, what happened, what changed for me was shame. Shame was the thing.
Wow.
Was there a specific? I want to talk to you about getting out of that lifestyle in a second.
Yeah.
But was there one or two, maybe just one of the crimes that you committed that's the one that haunts you?
Still does today. One of my best friends when I was in college, she was spectacular. And we were friends, and I wanted us to be something beside friends. And we became really close friends. And there was this really awful night. We both ended up not having a place to sleep while drunk in my living room
Mhm.
because somebody was in my bedroom, somebody was on the other couch, and this and that. And we ended up on the same couch, and I was drunk. My body got turned on, and I assaulted her while she was sleeping, and she woke up. And fortunately for her, she woke up and literally threw me off her, and I landed on the side of the coffee table. And there's more to the story, but that was when I was 21. So make that 1981. I got sober in 1989.
Mhm.
So that was at the core of my struggle for the next 8 years and even early recovery.
Wow.
It was her. Because most of the other people that I hurt, this just sounds so awful to say out loud, but most of the other people I hurt, I didn't really care about them. Like I knew I was doing something wrong. I felt shame for being what we would call evil, but I didn't have to look in their eyes. And I did with her.
Was that the last time you guys saw each other? Did she didn't press charges or anything?
She didn't press charges. It wasn't the last time we saw each other. We were friends for a little while. I had told a bunch of lies about her,
Ugh.
and I had moved out of the area, and that's when I moved into the mob lifestyle and everything along with it. And she called me one day with what had been our core group of friends. I wasn't friends with them anymore. I had robbed all of them, you know. Um, and I remember her saying on speakerphone, Mike, I need you to admit to what you lied about me. I'm going to let everybody know what you did. And it was probably the first time I had cried in a decade because I was like, oh gosh. In that moment, I remember feeling the shame of all of the things that I had done to her, and then the stories I told other people about her. And she was so angry.
I get it.
Did you admit it?
I did.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah.
It was a good step. It was a step. How long were
It
you?
was a step.
Yeah, it was a step. So you went into, I guess, the life around 19. How long were you in before you got out?
Um, a little less than 10 years in the late 80s. You know how there's those little holograms on credit cards?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there wasn't always a time.
Mm-hmm.
And we were the reason they created them. We had somebody who worked in a hotel that would find credit card balances of more than $10,000 from their clients. And $10,000 in the 80s was the equivalent of somebody with $150,000 balance today. And then we would counterfeit and make a fake version of that credit card. And both we would sell the fake credit cards to store owners that we knew for like $5,000, and they'd get like 30,000 in sales in the next month without selling anything. But we would also buy stuff and sell it too.
Got it.
That was my job. Sounds funny. I was the marketing and promotion of the credit cards. Got held by the Secret Service. 62 people went away to federal penitentiaries all over the country. The entire mob went away. I didn't. At the time, I assumed it was because I was smarter than all of them. What I figured out years later was I wasn't worth the government's money.
How much of it had to do with the alcoholism and drugs? When you quit that, did that help you not want to have a life of crime?
Yeah, well, I actually, this date means something else to the rest of the United States, but I got clean and sober on September 11th, 1989. I remember being about a year and a half sober. I was just finishing an outpatient program. I was literally going to 10 meetings a week and therapy twice a week. And I had realized I could absolutely have an absolutely normal life and function in the world but for reasons I don't know anything about, it was so clear to me that I needed to learn how to meditate. So I was living in New Jersey. That's where I grew up. I looked all over Greenwich Village and Manhattan. I couldn't find a bookstore that had meditation. Think of how much our culture has changed.
Yeah, right.
I couldn't find a book. I found one at this weird little shop in New Hope, Pennsylvania. I found two books on meditation. I bought them. I brought them home. I did everything they said. I had no idea if I was doing it right because there was no way for me to find out if I was doing it right. About a year later, I started doing daily meditation. So I have literally gone 37 years, 30 something years of meditating every day.
Wow.
And I didn't plan on doing any of that. I just knew it wasn't going to work. What was going to work for everybody else in AA wasn't going to work for me. Sure, I would not do drugs and alcohol, but I knew I was not going to become a better person. I knew that. I don't know anything about it, but I knew that.
And before that, though, didn't you have a minor stint in a mental institution? And that, because I just watched a video where you're like, that's when I knew I never wanted to go back there, and that started my recovery. I don't want to bring you back to like the depth of everything, but I think that's an important story.
So got sober September 11th, October 26th, still quote unquote clean and sober. A day and a half later, my sort of girlfriend of 3.5 years, we weren't really together at that point. I decided to kill her and myself, and somehow she saw that in my face. And I'm not going to go through all the details because it'll just take 10 minutes to get there. Mm-hmm. The next day I was in a locked mental hospital. And yes, exactly like you said, when I got out, I was like, I've been to jail. I've now been in mental hospital. I never want anybody to ever be able to tell me what I can and can't do.
Yeah. So you were sent there against your will.
Yeah.
Right.
90%.
Yeah.
I was given a choice of mental hospital or mental hospital with the police taking me away.
Got it.
I could go in voluntarily, or I could go in not voluntarily. So yes, I had a choice, but
right.
it was really going in with my hands like this and my hands like this.
The destination was secure. And that was probably because of your threat of self-harm, first and foremost.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's threat of her.
And harming her as well. Yeah.
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 But then you decided you needed to meditate, right? Is that...
Needed to meditate. That was the solution, you know? And then a few years after that, I got involved with my therapist at the time, Lorraine Hollier. Oh my gosh. Lorraine Hollier.
Wow.
She put up a lot with me. I'll just say that. She had said to me one day, Michael, you're never going to get balance unless you start including some people outside AA in your life. So I started making some other friends. And as I was getting involved with these friends who lived on a farm, and I just thought that was hilarious to hang out with people that lived on a farm. Guy from Newark, New Jersey, you know, enter Betsy Browder, stage left. And that's when my life changed. She's a Reiki master amongst many things, but she just looked me in the eye, literally and figuratively, not at first meeting, but just like, okay, we have to do something about you. Like inside of you is a spectacular human being that could be a healer, and you have been eaten alive, and we have to do something about this. And she just decided I needed to be spectacular. My words, not hers.
Just real quick about Reiki, because I am a Reiki novice.
Yeah.
I had to look it up.
Novice.
I've heard the term.
You don't believe
But you pronounced it correctly,
I
just
know.
like you did my name.
That's because I looked it up. Just did your name.
Perfect.
So here for anybody who doesn't know what it is. Here's the definition that I settled on. Reiki seeks to promote wellness by creating balance in a person's life force or energy field. People who receive Reiki report that it helps them feel calm, relaxed, and connected. I am not a believer. I'm just going to come right and tell you.
You've never had it.
Thank you.
I've never had it.
This one.
So go. Make me a believer.
Well, even before they do that, I want to tell you my definition because it's different.
Okay.
So qi is Mandarin for the thing that's also called ki, as in Reiki, So Tai Chi, Reiki, they both have that same Ki Chi in it, which is defined, whether you believe it or not, as universal life force energy, meaning the force that all life has. The Rei, R-E-I, in Japanese, is spiritually guided. So there's this energy, and with Reiki, something is guiding it. In essence, that's sort of what Reiki is somebody carries a presence, and that presence affects other people, things, people, and places. Let's take 15 seconds here, and I'm going to connect with Reiki. And since you're a non-believer, you're the perfect person for this.
Fair enough. Let's do it.
So I'm just going to invite you to just be you. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be anything. And I'm going to invite you too, both of you. And listen to your body. Feel if it slows, if it relaxes, if it feels clean, if it feels balanced. Just listen to your body. Particularly your breath and your rhythm. And nod if you're experiencing a thing, even if it doesn't make sense, yes. Nod your head no if you're not experiencing anything. It's okay not to. If you have words that you feel like accurately can represent it, what did you feel? Not what was happening. What did you feel?
Calm.
Do you hear how different her voice is now? Seriously.
Yeah. I definitely felt something.
When you listen to the tape later, listen to her voice, calm. I felt calm.
Calm.
That's what happens with Reiki.
So let me ask you, did she let it in and I did not? Is that what you're saying? Or
I'm not saying that.
You're not saying
I'm
that.
saying that if you were here in the room with me and we had 15 minutes, I have complete confidence you would experience that thing.
I like that challenge.
I think so too.
I love it.
I definitely felt something different. I really did.
I think I'm just focused on everything happening. The headset, the
But
lights,
you know how you talked about you need peace in your life?
I totally need peace. Well, that's what
I'm saying.
Right?
Maybe you need
give me
to
peace
try.
in my life.
This is going to be so much fun for me to say. I'm going to pretend I'm you.
Okay.
He knows a guy. He knows a guy that can get you to get some peace. He knows a guy.
I got a contact now. I love it.
I got a guy.
I'm going to be texting you as soon as we're
I
off
would
air.
love if you would really try that and just see. And then we could come back to our audience and tell them.
That's why I said, do you feel like that you let it in and I didn't? Because I am so, what's the word?
Closed.
Jaded.
Yeah, skeptical.
Thank you. That's the word. I'm so skeptical about that type of, I mean, just being totally honest. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, but that's,
right?
Well, first of all, I didn't either.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you for the record, it occurred to me to strangle Betsy. I just want to say that. Like, what she was doing this thing, for a split second, I was like, this woman's touching me. I don't know. I want to kill her.
Okay. I'm glad you fought back that intrusive
Yeah,
thought.
I did.
That's the
Yes,
opposite of what I think she was going for.
Yes, I understand. But the thing I want to say to you is jaded people make the best friends, the best family members, and the best lovers, because if they let you in, you get the whole thing.
There's probably some truth to that for sure.
So what about people who aren't jaded like me?
You're terrible.
We're
Comes and
terrible.
goes.
We're terrible at all of it.
No, that is not where I went.
I'm just
But
kidding,
I mean,
Mike.
But people like yourself that are warm and friendly and
terrible.
open, you can change your mind in the morning.
It's true.
Because you're warm and friendly. That's who you are. That's part of your character.
Yeah,
That's
you're a
pretty
hugger.
cool.
She's a hugger. She hugs everybody.
I know.
She's a bucket of positive energy whenever you see her for the first time.
Yes.
She is, 100%.
My sister, that's my sister right
Oh,
there.
yeah? Oh, you have a sister. Okay.
No, her.
Oh, this is your
Oh,
sister.
are we sister and brother?
Yes.
Oh my God, I
Yes.
love it.
I thought you were saying
love
she's
it.
like your sister.
Sister from another mister.
So we'll close
Yeah.
up in a second here.
Yeah, we
but
gotta close up.
I just want to ask, since we're talking about siblings, do you forgive your brother for all that transpired in your childhood and beyond?
I forgive him. That doesn't mean I'm not still angry.
Sure.
And the anger isn't big anger. It's little squeaks every now and then. And while I've been writing, editing, now doing the audiobook, of this book, and he's a central part of the first quarter of the book. I've been really reminded of his impact on me because, he died back in 97. That's a really long time ago. And I've grown a lot and changed. My life has changed. My core has changed. So, one, I'm really glad he's dead. I'm going to say that because we're being honest here.
It's okay.
And what I have from being a counselor and social worker for decades is I get it now. I understand what happened and what he was. And that's helped a lot. And I have wondered over the years if him and I were born 20 years later with how different our culture is, how different David's life would have been.
And my final question is about your dad. Is there, not do you forgive your dad, but do you love your dad, even though he's gone? Do you still have those feelings, or did you?
Oh my gosh, I had this amazing experience. I backpacked across the country in 1995 by myself. And for whatever reason, before I went backpacking, he just felt inspired to make amends for everything he had done.
Wow.
In a phone call. And I had left 2 days later. He died 2 weeks into my trip, just died. 3 weeks into I guess it was 3 months. He had died. And it was almost like he needed to do this, then he could leave. I mean, literally, when my mother wanted to have kids, my father said no. And then after years of nagging him, he said, I'll let you have children, but I'm letting you know I'm never going to be their father. I'm not interested.
Wow.
And my mother used to kid and say it's the only promise he ever kept. And he did. He was never my father, really. I mean, he was in my life, but he was never my father. And for someone who had a father like that him just make an amends and then go away, oh my gosh, it just saved me decades of pain. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Oh, let me rephrase it. It saved me what I perceive would have been decades of pain.
Thank you for being so candid with us today.
Wow.
We really do appreciate it. It's
what
a powerful story.
Incredible conversation.
Yeah, really. 100%. I can't wait to read the book.
How can we help you to get more of the good part?
I want to go around the country and talk about my story and healthy masculinity, and that men don't have to be what we've been taught to do.
Right.
That's what I want to do.
Where can they buy the book?
Pretty much any online seller. They can get it on my website, michaelswerdloff.com. You can buy it directly from where it gets printed, but you could get it every one of the major booksellers everywhere. And right now, actually, in Amazon, and I'm going to keep it this way through the new year, my ebook is only 99 cents.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
Yeah, like the Kindle version's 99 cents. But yeah, and if you wait till next week, it'll be that price everywhere.
That's great. And so you're still taking on clients too for Reiki, like Mark?
Yeah, but most of my clients are counseling. Most of my clients are counseling.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm a counselor with a private practice, and I'm a program manager and run a nonprofit conscious dance community here in New England.
Ooh.
So, and then it turns out I write books and talk about books. I'm a busy dude, and I DJ ecstatic dance events, and I have a lot of fun.
This could be a 3-hour conversation.
I know, right?
To be honest.
There's so much
could.
more. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Look, we can't thank you enough. This has been a great conversation. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, getting to know your past. I can't wait to read about all the good stuff that happened as a result of everything that we set up here today. So thank you again.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for letting me be on your show and inviting me. But more importantly, thank you for the warmth and the comfort that you gave me in letting me share really uncomfortable stuff that people typically don't ask about and don't want to hear about. And I really appreciate it. So grateful for both of you individually and together.
Thank you, Michael.
That was very nice. And we appreciate you as well. We'll see you soon in the next episode of Who's a Geek Teachers.